With less than 1 month to go, a headliner has been found for next month's UFC 222. UFC Women's Featherweight Champion Cris Cyborg, 18-1 MMA, 3-0 UFC, and Invicta FC Bantamweight Champ Yana Kunitskaya, 10-3 MMA, 0-0 UFC, is set for the March 3 pay-per-view event. A person with knowledge of the situation told Majunkie. The person spoke on a condition of anonymity because the bout has yet to be made official. Also co-headlining the event is a featherweight title between ex-lightweight champ Frankie Edgar. The 1st of May 22 MMA. The 1st of May 16 UFC. And surging contender Brian Ortega, 13-0 MMA. 5-0 UFC, who agreed to step in for injured champ Max Holloway, 19-3 MMA, 15-3 UFC. Edgar Ortega will be a title eliminator, not an interim title fight. The news was first reported by MMA Fighting.com and subsequently confirmed by UFC President Dana White on tonight's episode of UFC Tonight. Kunitskaya and Ortega also announced the bouts for UFC 222, which takes place at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The event's main card airs live on pay-per-view following prelims on FS1 and UFC Fight Pass. #222 A post shared by Yana Kunitskaya at Yanama on February 7, 2018 at 3:45 p.m. PST. The event was thrown into disarray last week when Holloway was forced to withdraw because of injury. Without a headliner, the promotion considered canceling the event before the Cyborg vs. Kunitskaya fight was booked. Cyborg will return to the octagon 3 months after outpointing ex-bantamweight champ Holly Holm to notch her first title defense of the featherweight title. Still undefeated since her professional debut in 2005, she is widely considered the most dominant female fighter in MMA. Kunitskaya was scheduled to face Leah Letson in her octagon debut at the event after initially announcing a fight with Sarah McMahon for UFC on Fox 28. She now gets a huge upgrade in competition. Kunitskaya picked up the title on her second try, defeating Raquel Paluhi this past August after a submission at the hands of Tanya Evinger, who was badly beaten by Cyborg this past July in a bout for the vacant UFC Women's Featherweight belt. Before receiving another title shot at featherweight, two-time challenger Edgar beat down up-and-comer Yair Rodriguez this past May for his second straight win. He is 7-0 in non-title fights over the past 5 years. Edgar recently was called out by ex-bantamweight champ Cody Garbrandt, who failed to get an immediate rematch with current titleholder T.J. Dillashaw for UFC 222. Ortega looks to snap Edgar's streak by continuing his own. T-City wowed UFC fans this past December with a submission of top contender Cub Swanson, extending his unbeaten streak to 13 fights. The latest UFC 222 card includes Cris Cyborg vs. Yana Kunitskaya for women's featherweight title, Frankie Edgar vs. Brian Ortega, C.B. Holloway vs. Hector Lombard, Andrei Arlovsky vs. Stefan Struve, Mackenzie Dern vs. Ashley Yoder, Ketlin Vieira vs. Kat Zingano, Sean O'Malley vs. Andre Sukumthoth, Brian Caraway vs. Cody Stamann, Jordan Johnson vs. Adam Milstead, Beneil Dariush vs. Bobby Green, John Dodson vs. Pedro Munhoz, Mike Pyle vs. Zach Otto. For more on UFC 222, Check out the UFC rumors section of the site.